Welcome to Police Chaplain's Corner. My name is Sean, and in this moment, I get an opportunity to share some biblical truths with you that I hope that you'll carry both in your personal and in your professional life, being successful in both areas as a result. Let's look at Proverbs chapter 22, verse 1, and it reads, "A good name is to be more desired than great wealth, and favor is better than silver and gold." A good name, a good reputation. In the world in which we live today, police officers and first responders are judged uniquely on the uniform and badge that they wear, not the person of who they are. With that in mind, it's so important not to shrink back from your responsibilities and duties, but to add that additional element that will win back public trust and will best reflect the law enforcement community as a whole. Unfortunately, over the last several years, there's been a number of police actions and misactions that have resulted in opinions that have been unfavorable to the profession overall. But I don't believe that the profession is done. I don't believe that the profession and the professionals are to be pushed to the side with no account, because there are too many great men and women serving as compared to the one-offs, the anomalies, if you will, that we've seen in the media over the last several years. How do we best respond in the environment that we've been tasked with working in? Well, begin the practice, if you haven't already, the practice of developing a good name. And how does that begin? I've mentored a number of brand new police officers where you take a civilian and you inculcate them into the first responder, law enforcement world, and you share with them principles and things that will help them be successful in their careers. And I must say, overall, those men and women that I've had opportunity to mentor have done really, really well, and for that I'm proud. Because it will translate not only throughout their careers, but it will translate into the next generation. And this is why striving to have a good name is so important. Now, I get the need by many to make certain comments about individuals or people groups or communities in the locker room or in the roll call room. Those are places where I heard negative things many times. And in some cases, I myself was guilty of falling into the pattern of how other people do things. But after a long career where I've developed a level of maturity and conviction, those things no longer rang true for my life, how I did my job, and how I served my community. And so by taking a few moments here to help you and to give you principles, is my hope that you won't make the same mistakes that I made, and that you'll come out just as well as I did, meaning health, reputation, career intact, family intact, and so forth. When I was on the force, there were very few people that would hear me use profanity outside of a sworn testimony before a magistrate or before a court in explaining anything about my life, about a circumstance, and so forth. And so I'm not here to put you on a guilt trip if you're one that uses profane language. I'm simply saying that you need to begin the practice of representing yourself, representing your family, and representing your department differently. And here's why. I shared that because that was my practice over most, if not all, of my career. I have children, one of whom has followed me into the law enforcement community. Well, he'll say to you, I've never heard my dad use profane language, and I'm good with that. But here's my point: there was a time in my career where a complainant was not satisfied with the services that she was provided. She called my commanding officer and accused me of using profanity towards her. Now, this commander I had known since he was a rookie, and we served together in a district. So he's never heard that language come out of my mouth, ever. When he got the call, what he should have done, and rightfully so, is opened up an investigation and certain inquiries about what happened, what had transpired, and what my actions were or were not. And I'm good with that because I'm not ashamed of anything that I do and the job that I perform. However, when he got this call and she identified me as the officer, as the offender, if you will, he shook off the cobwebs and he said, that didn't happen. And he ended the call. There was no investigation like it should have been, practically. But he knew me. And so he called me in and he told me that this call had been made. And I filled him in on the facts and circumstances, and I went on with my day with no other repercussions. Now, that was an example of a small thing where I chose not to use certain language, and it came back and supported me without me having to say a word. What does your reputation say about you? What does it represent to a community, to your commanders, to those who have responsibility for supervising you? Be careful and treasure the importance of having a good name and receiving favor. Lastly, when I was retired and working as a pastor in a church, I had a young man come to me and he said, I don't know you, but I want to thank you. I said, what do you mean? He said, I got into a lot of trouble. I was drinking while I was driving. And I don't remember if it was his first offense or if it was his second offense. I really don't remember. But he wanted to meet me, and here's the reason why. When he was going to court, he had an attorney who began to ask him questions about his background and what he does or what he has done to kind of improve his life, because the attorney wanted to present him before the court with a better reputation than his drunk driving had represented. And he told his attorney that he had started going to church and that he was doing these different things in his life to help. Well, when his attorney told the prosecutor knew me and said, well, he's going to that church where Sean goes. Okay. And then they went before the judge, and the prosecutor articulated the young man's background and what he was doing to get his life together. And the judge knew me and said, isn't that the church where Sean goes? And they, in concert, the defense attorney and the prosecutor said yes. Well, if that's where he's going, that's a good place for him. And the result was he was given a break, a reduced consequence for his actions as a result of my reputation. And we never met. What does your life, what does your reputation speak in the eyes and the ears of other people? Because I've always tried to live my life best, not perfectly, just best. I am not without mistake, and neither are you. But the key is, how do we recover from the mistakes that we make? And how do we continue to work hard to serve our communities? Strive to have a good name. It's more to be desired than great wealth. And the favor that you receive as a result is better than silver and gold. Seek a good name. And as always, God bless you and stay safe.